a low-poly island in Blender. So the first thing you're going to want to do is delete the default cube and add a plane. Subdivide this, and the number of cuts will be 8. Select the very center. Press O, and O, by the way, stands for proportional editing. It basically, when you select one point, it depends on the opacity, but if you have a large opacity, it moves pretty much everything. So just did that. See, as you can see, if I have a small one, it just moves very little. Okay, so you're gonna want to pull this up and create a little island. Go. That's about good there. Once you have done that, turn off proportional editing by pressing O again. Select each one of the edges, press S for scale, Z, and then 0. It basically finds all of the edges to be the same at the same height. Alright, so once you have done that, we need to add another plane and move this to be about like the water, so right there would be probably good. Alright, and we're not going to add the materials just yet, so let's just work on the water. So we're going to subdivide this around 20 times. Press O again for proportional editing. Select the proportional editing fall off. Select random, and then grab something. And move it up, and make sure you have O, proportional editing, turned on. And now it's kind of random, so it looks like waves. Alright, so that is the basics of our island. Right there. Alright, so let's go ahead and add the harder stuff in, which would be the trees and the rocks and the grass and all that stuff. Alright, so let's add a cube. Select the top of the cube. Make sure you have proportional editing turned off. There we go. And basically extrude the tree to look like a palm tree. So about there, it looks about good. This is just our first palm tree, so we'll change it, of course. Change it up for all the other ones. There we go. Okay, so once you've done that, what you're gonna need to do is scale the top down all the way. There we go. And then add a plane. This is gonna be the leaves. So you want the base to be a little bit smaller than the very middle. So around there. And you're going to want to extrude it. Extrude it again. And this time, we're going to basically press O and make sure your proportional editing fall off is smooth and your opacity up for it is very little. Scale it on the x-axis, and then we're going to move it some. There we go. And now we're going to select both edges, pull them up. Go, create some more cuts. And there is our palm leaf. There we go. And now we basically just need to duplicate this around the whole entire tree. Make sure nothing is overlapping, just because it looks a bit better when it's not. There we go. Duplicate that again. Make sure you have a good bit of leaves up there, just to where you can get a better view of the tree and stuff like that. Maybe not a view of the tree, but basically a view of the leaves to see how good they were made. There we go. There we go. So that is a nice in-made palm tree. So I'm going to join all this stuff together, set all the origin geometry. And basically, what I'm going to do is duplicate this around the island. Rotating it, changing it up some. Go. Looks about good right there. Let's create another one over here and another one right over here. That's pretty big. There we go. Okay, so that's our palm trees. We're going to add the materials later. Alright, It looks good. Maybe make one more. Going a little bit that way. Alright, so now we're going to add a rock. So for this rock, we're actually going to add an icosphere. Subdivisions of 1. Scale it up. And once you've done that, you basically add vertices onto this. Or press O and move it out some. Basically, this is going to be our big, giant rock. Of course, you can extrude stuff. That there. Make sure you turn proportional editing off for a lot of stuff, or else it'll mess you up really bad. Sometimes you won't notice it, and then you'll notice it later, and then it's just crazy. Alright, so I think that is that rock. We can just duplicate it and then change it some, sorry. And just to make it look a little bit different than that other rock. And we'll also add a treasure chest up here just for fun. Alright, but first we need to add a couple more things. So this scene is looking pretty good right now, but we need to make some tweaks to it. Some of the trunks of the palm trees are a little bit too thick. There we go, like that one looks really thick. There we go, this one looks thick. Basically just making everything look a little bit more random. There we go. And yeah, it looks good. Okay, so we're going to do our first renders here. Make sure it cycles render before you start adding all the materials, by the way. Alright, so let's go ahead and start making them. First, we're going to make the rock. Make sure both of the rocks have that material. We're going to have sand material. And before we set anything, let's do trunk. Before we set anything, what we're going to want to do is basically visualize this by making the colors appear in the scene. So some of you may be thinking, well, you can't do that, it cycles render. Well, actually you can. So I'll show you this. If you go under settings, the viewport color, we can change this. There we go, that looks good. And basically we're going to visualize this in the scene and then copy the material over to the actual color. So let's change the leaf color and then the trunk color. There we go. We're going to select all the other trees, then we're going to select that one, and then we're going to do Control L, Materials. And then we're going to assign it for this one. We're select all the leaves. Make sure they have that material. I didn't mean to set the color color instead of the viewport color, by the way. Sorry. Alright, now do the same thing one more time. And then do object data. There we go. Now everything is the same. Alright, so now we're ready to visualize this in the render. But first we need to set the colors of everything. There we go. Same with the sand. And the rocks. Alright. So let's make a camera position here. About right there. So I'm gonna render this. And right now it's not gonna be the best. One reason would be I have my sampling really high. It just defaults to that. I don't know why. Alright, so and then under our world we need to set the sky color to be a sky texture. That makes it render a good bit faster. Alright, so we're gonna make this pretty obvious that it's daytime, so we're gonna set this to 5. We're gonna create a lamp, a sun lamp, and we're gonna set the sun to be shining on this, and then under the sun, I'm gonna set this to be around 1.3 3. And let's render it. Now this render looks very, 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 very plain here. As you can see, the trees look a little bit all the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend them over just a little bit here. Of course, I got to select all my pieces. Yeah, like that. There we go. Okay, so this tree's a little bit messed up. So it's gosh. That's probably what the object data is. That's what it does. That's all right though. Okay, so now we gotta add some story to this, because right now it's kind of bland. Like, it's like, oh, this is an island scene. Yeah, I get it, but what about it? So let's go ahead and add a cube for our treasure chest here. And basically, this is going to be a simple treasure chest since it is supposed to be low poly. All we have to do is basically create a cylinder. It has not a lot of vertices, so about there. Rotate it, move it up, and basically, this will be our top. You may be thinking, well, that looks pretty bad. Yeah, it does, but once we edit it a little bit more, it'll look fine. Okay. Now we need to make this open. So on the Y, we need to Y. Actually, let's do both of these first. Oh. Scale Y 0. There. I didn't mean to extrude it there. Scale Y 0. And over here, do the same thing. Scale Y 0. Alright, and now delete basically both edges. Oop, not vertices, just bases. And select all the bottom. There we go. Delete it. Now we can create a face on both of these edges here. Press L, rotate it. Of course, we got to do it on. Okay, so select it. R, 90 on the C's. Rotate 90 on the. Let's just do the y-axis and then rotate 90 again on the y-axis and then one more time. There we go. I was hoping it would rotate it just the way I wanted to, but of course it didn't. Go open chest, and we'll throw some gold in there in a little bit. We're just creating now the basic story of the scene, the layout. This isn't the finished treasure chest or anything. Go, and let's put a shovel here. And we'll do something like that. There we go. That's scaling on the shift and the y-axis, by the way. Okay, and something like, you know what, let's not add the shovel just yet. Okay, so if we render this, it would probably look just a little bit more interesting because you'd be like, well, what is it? What is that? But first, before we render it again, let's go ahead and create the materials for this stuff. We're going to want to make it look like it's dug up. There's some sands here. So this should basically look like this is dug up. We'll put a shovel here too in a minute. Let's just make the material for the chest first, and also all the gold in the chest. There we go. That looks pretty good right there. Let's make the material for the chest. It would be dark brown. Maybe about there. Of course, we got to put the viewport color in. Here we go. And last thing is to put the gold in. So let's do that. Goldish texture here. Color, sorry. Gold. There we go. Alright, so now basically we just need to duplicate this a bunch of times in this chest. Okay, so I have duplicated the gold all in this chest here. I'm also gonna select the space here, extrude it inwards. There we go. Okay, and next we're gonna create one more thing, which would be a lock for this. This would look interesting right about there. Extrude it outwards. Give it a new material, and we're actually just gonna give it a rock material because that's what we're gonna do. Okay. And that looks pretty good right there. Of course, we have to create a little bit more story to it before we finish it off. Alright, so that's our render. It looks actually really, really good so far. We're going to extrude these leaves out. We're going to make the water a little bit bigger so we can see it out there. And there's something there that we need to colorize, materialize. And yeah, the shovel and some footsteps from a pirate. Alright. There we go. So let's add an array modifier now. Wrong direction. There we go. And also add another one going in that direction, just where we can see it. There we go. Awesome. So this right here, it looks as if it is a rock that didn't get a color. There we go. Awesome. So now that we have that finished, it looks really, really good. What we need to do is add the shovel. So let's just put a cube here. Give it the wood material. Let's just call this wood. Move it outwards and scale up Shift Y. So the edge, duplicate it, not extrude it, duplicate it. Scale the X, extrude it again. There we go. Add new material, and again, we're just gonna put the rock here. Here we go. So now I'm basically just gonna put a vertex in there and move it downwards, just to where we can have a little dip in there, just to where when you dig up, it actually, you know, gives me something to use. There we go. Right there, and put some sand in the shovel right there. If it was flat, as I said again, it would look pretty weird. Okay, so that is the treasure. And now we just need to put the footsteps down. The footsteps will be very simple. Just going to add a cube, extrude it inwards, scale it downwards, and create a new material and dark brown. Actually, we'll do the sand color, and then we're going to make it darker. There we go. And scale it downwards. Call it footsteps. Alright. And duplicate this all the way down. Now you do have to remember that footsteps are, of course, side by side. So like this, go backwards, go up, kind of like that. Go. And basically, now that you've done one set, you can do the other set here. And if you guys wanted to, you guys can put a pirate ship in here, just because it would look probably pretty cool. I'm gonna probably kind of make these footsteps a little bit like they're disappearing. Alright, and last thing to do would be to extrude the leaves downwards, just to where it gives it a little bit of depth. Or upwards, whichever one. Right? And next, let's see, up here is kind of, over here anyway, is kind of bland. So what I'm going to do is, again, duplicate a rock. Basically, the rock is basically to fill in space, so if you need to fill in any space in your scene, something environmental would look pretty good and work fairly well. Okay, guys, so that is the low poly environmental island treasure chest tutorial. I hope to see you guys in the next one, and I would like to see what you guys could do with this scene. Tweet me if you have any images, like maybe you added a pirate ship or added really anything into this. See you guys in the next tutorial.